You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester, Black Westchester, Black Westchester, Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester, Black Westchester, Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
and are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are tuned into Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 326. I am your host, AJ Woodson. I got my two partners with me. Damon K. Jones will be with us tonight. I got Dr. Bob with us. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. So blackwestchester.com was doing some maintenance on the site. So the site was down for a few hours this morning. So anybody who was, I got like 30-something text messages. The site is up and running. Everything is all good. We're just doing some maintenance. Everything's good. So I want to put that out there. Without further ado, let me bring in my partner, Dr. Bob, in the place to be. What's going on, sir? What's going on?
Hey, Jay, what's happening, man? Oh, am I on mute?
No, you good. You good.
Oh,
you good. Shout out to my partner, Monty Whitaker, Prince George County, Maryland. Shout out to Melissa Patterson watching. Shout out to Lloyd Richards Jr. and everybody who's tuned in already. Got a really good show. Our guest later in the show is going to be author Corey Pegues, friend of the show. He had a book, Once a Cop, and now he has a new documentary style movie, A Cops and Robber Story. Dr. Bob and I saw it yesterday, and he will be our guest tonight. And before I do this, let everybody know this is not an optical illusion. Damon K. House. Oh. It's not an It's not an optical illusion. The man, the myth, the legend, Damon K. Jones is in the building. Yes, he is. So, real quick, Bob, if you want to, real shortly, you saw the movie last night. You wanna say anything about it? Like what you thought of it? Like real quick.
I thought it was a phenomenal, riveting story that had me leaning out my seat, focused on the image all the imagery that, of course, takes us back to another era that many of us have mixed feelings about. And Corey's story is one of a kind, and I was really, really moved by it. To be quite honest. And although I have met Corey before, it was eye-opening. The level of achievement and accomplishment, and it really just deepened my respect for him. And so, I really am hoping that I'm looking forward to talking to him, and I'm hoping that the audience members get to see it. We're trying to firm up plans, finalize plans to screen the movie at the Mount Vernon Library as part of our Decipher series. So for those of you who are in the Mount Vernon area, perhaps you'll be able to come by and watch it personally and have a follow-up panel discussion. It'll be featuring Corey, you, and Damon. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Well, wait, before I go any further, so yesterday was supposed to be the first installment of the Decipher for the year, and COVID protocols, I guess, pushed it back. If you want to say something about that real quick.
Well, I do want to let everyone know that, unfortunately, as you just said, we had to cancel yesterday's screening.
Postpone.
The yesterday's screening of the killing of Kenneth Chamberlain. As most of our audience members will know, it's a dramatization, award-winning dramatization of the murder of Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. at the hands of the White Plains Police. It's a case that really for which those officers still have not been held accountable. Our brother Kenny Chamberlain Jr. Has been waging a heroic fight to try to bring some measure of accountability. And even though we didn't have a chance to screen it yesterday, we are postponing it. We're looking at a number of options. There's a possibility we may be virtually screening it, but we'll that remains to be seen, and we're going to work out some of the kinks. But in any event, no matter what, we'll certainly be screening it live within the months ahead. And I want everyone to keep their ear open and stay tuned for more information.
I'd like to take this time to offer my condolences to Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., who just lost his mom. So I just want to offer on the show my condolences to his family, to everybody that is affected by the loss. I mean, the brother lost a lot. I want to ask all our listeners, to pray for the brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? We know him as the brother standing for criminal justice reform, fighting for police reform. You know what I'm saying? Speaking up. You know what I'm saying? But he's been fighting for justice for his pops and never really mourned. Lost his daughter in between, and now lost his mom. So keep that brother lifted in prayer. Damon, welcome to the show, Damon. And I don't know if you want to say a couple words on that, or we'll move on to something else.
Yeah, man, first thing first is I want to send the condolences to the Lafayette family and Reginald.
We're going to do that next. Yeah, we're going to do that next. Yeah,
to make sure. But I watched the documentary, and I wasn't able to go see it because I am bedridden. And so let me tell you, man, and I can't wait till Corey get on, because we're going to have a conversation about this. Corey did the system the same way every other ethnic group does the system. For them, for the NYPD or any other police person to get upset at Corey, there's always a double standard when you're a Black officer, right? We can't have family members or associates who did illegal acts, but other ethnic groups glorify John Gotti and all these other people that have done illegal acts. So that there's always a double standard, and what this documentary shows how the double standard applies in law enforcement when it comes to Black officers, and how the Black community is perceived. You know, they almost act like crime doesn't happen in white neighborhoods. Like there's no such thing as organized crime in white neighborhoods, in which we know there are. You know, and some of these officers, you know, with different ethnic backgrounds, they still glorify that. They still deal with that, you know, but nobody wants to talk about that. You know, and I think and you saw the double standard in the reporter, you know, and I know the other guy was his partner, was his friend, you know, but it stood out with that too. You know, so I just want to, you know, say that, and I was honored to be, you know, part of the production. I was big.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna say that. When I was looking at that, I said, Damon gonna be like, "Damn, I was big." I did listen to the director because the director was on the came in the Skype on the screen. And after I saw her, she started talking. I remembered we did meet her and the producer when we went out to Queens to the house where they did the interviews.
Yes.
Yeah, we spent and then I think they videotaped us. We did a special show that week with the police, and they came and taped that, and they taped y'all at, you know, having lunch or something somewhere at the table. They was shooting scenes from all of that too, I think.
I don't know, man.
But I know we went to the house though. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, it just, you know, I was on a Zoom meeting all day Saturday, right? You know, this doctor keeping me home, man. I'm doing things I haven't done in months because of all. Thank you, Paul Anthony. And it, you know, it was all Black law enforcement from international. We had Black law enforcement from Ireland. We had Black law enforcement from the United Kingdom. We had Black law enforcement from Canada and the United States. And you know, it's a lot of frustration. You know, there's a lot of frustration, and this documentary, you know, the response, you know, when you don't put resources in Black communities, you know, especially that time of era, you talking 89, you talking 90, 91, 92. I started in corrections in 90. Right, and there wasn't no resources in the Black community, and young kids had nothing else to do, you know, to make money but sell drugs. You know, by the grace of God, you know, 86 in September, I got my ass on a plane and went down to basically the same car. I went to the Marine Corps. If that wasn't the case, I'd probably been an inmate instead of an officer. So you know, these stories go along with a lot of Black law enforcement. You know, some of them might not want to say it. And one of the guys in the documentary was he said, you know, listen, he wasn't no angel growing up neither, and a lot of us wasn't. So, you know, to attack Corey and try to make him look like a bad guy, I really think, you know, God put his hand on that and flipped it around and made his book one of the best-selling books. You know, putting him on the cover of the Post just helped him sell more books. You know, the bogus investigation from the NYPD, you know, and Archie Bunker, Pat Lynch wanted to speak out against them. You know, I think all that was just part of the blessing, you know, that Corey has. And I think it was a mistake for City of Mount Vernon, not to have him as deputy commissioner.
That's what Bob said. As soon as he saw the thing, he said, "Oh, Mount Vernon messed up." That's what Bob said. Because I want to table this real quick because he's coming on. I want to spend 15 minutes to again what you started out saying. So our condolences collectively to Reginald Lafayette, who was the Westchester Democratic chair, who was the Westchester head of the Westchester Board of Elections, who was the Mount Vernon Democratic Committee chair. And he's done so much. He was doing stuff on a state level and everything. So I wanted to, a couple of words about Reggie before we get into our guest. Damon, I saw that you posted something. I'm gonna let you start. I know that you posted something on Facebook, which I thought was powerful. So I wanted to let you start.
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a lot of respect for Reggie, for what he had accomplished and what he was continuing to accomplish on a political level. We never, I mean, the world knows, like, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things politically, but I think at the end of the day, we both wanted the best for Black people in Westchester County. It was just a generational gap between the both of us, on how to get it done. But I always had respect for Reggie. He was very knowledgeable of the political process. He was very knowledgeable of election law, and one of the things he used to always tell me, because people know I'll take it to the 10th level, and he used to always say, man, there's no personal friendships.
There's no personal enemies. There's no personal friends in politics. Just personal interests.
Just personal interests.
Permanent.
There's
yeah.
no permanent. Yeah, there's no permanent friends and permanent enemies in politics. Just permanent interests.
Just permanent interests. He used to always tell me that.
Yeah. One of the first things he told me in 2014 when we started.
And he used to always joke me about my pension.
I know. I remember that.
Saying that my pension, will be larger than his, but he might be right. he might have been right, but I always say that, man. And I post all the pictures like everybody, think we hated each other, man. But there was always I post all the pictures, and that we had good times, man. When we were around each other, we had good times, and we had good and we had good conversations. And that was it. Sometimes you don't see eye to eye with people, and you're not supposed to. But that doesn't mean you don't respect the person, because he has a job to do as the positions that he held, right? And he did it well. And I had a job to do as a community activist, as someone who spoke out on issues and represent Black issues in Westchester County. And no, we would not see eye to eye, but we both did our job well at the end of the day. And there was respect on both sides at the end of the day. And I think, the passing of Reggie Lafayette is a sad thing, and it puts a hole in Black politics here in Westchester County. And he was always talking about retiring. He was always talking about just letting it go, and I just wish he would have just took that retirement, man, and just and lived the life, and because it's going to be, man, it's going to be without Reggie's knowledge, it's going to be a lot of shenanigans. I hate to say it.
I'm glad that I had a chance to pick his brain. I always say he is a wealth of knowledge. Sometimes you had to navigate through the propaganda to get to it, but he was a wealth of knowledge. Even when we were adversarial, like in the beginning of 2014, so Ernie's in office, and we basically was in the Ernie must go business and putting, holding Ernie's feet to the fire and the Democratic Party's feet to the fire. And Sam Rivers is taking Ernie to court, and outside the courtroom, he says, "Is this your first court case covering like a political thing. Is your friend? And I said, yeah. And he told me, he said, listen for the word standing. He said, this whole case is going to be about the word standing. And then when we came out, we ended up riding the elevator down together. He said, see, I told you. And then he started explaining. And every time he saw me, he would drop a few gems with me real quick. And he definitely did not agree with a lot of stuff and my opinions and editorials that I wrote. But again, like Damon said, my job was to hold everybody that got any sort of power feet to the fire. And that was my job. My job was to be critical and hold them to the fire and bring out the best and keep everybody on the up and up. And, so I questioned, people think I didn't like him, and I've always said to him, I always thought that his 3 positions was a conflict of interest. And I said, I'm going to continue saying that until you prove me wrong. And he never did. We never agreed with me. But we always went back and forth, but he always talked to me. And while people think we didn't get along, the other thing is he always answered the phone when I called. Even if he couldn't answer it right back, he would call back. You know what I'm saying? A few times he didn't agree with Damon. He had his words. We had to peep. Reggie claps back. He was mad at Damon with Damon's position. So he was coming out on David and Sam and everybody, and we ran it. You know what I'm saying? And it's on the website. Reggie claps back. But he was a good brother though, and he did a lot for a lot of people. And I got a lot of calls yesterday from people who were talking about what he meant to them and all of that. So, I just want to offer our condolences. Bob, I want to let you get a couple of words in before we get to Corey. He's in the green room about Reggie Lafayette. You're on mute, brother.
Yes. So I wanted to join y'all in toasting Brother Lafayette for a life well lived, irrespective of any political disagreements people may have had with him. I think we can, there's a consensus that his accomplishments were unmatched by many. For a brother to be able to climb to the leadership position within the Democratic Party in a white majority county, overwhelmingly white majority county, speaks to his personal qualities. And I think those are not to be overlooked. I think it is important for our humanity that we acknowledge the loss and feel the pain, because that is a fate that we awaits us all one day. And since no person is perfect, I think it would just be in poor form at this moment to dwell on differences that we may have had, and acknowledge, his greatness and his accomplishments. And so I'll leave it at that. There'll be ample time when his family has had an opportunity to mourn, when we've all had an opportunity to apprise the impact of his loss. We'll have an opportunity to talk in detail about what he was able to do in the Democratic Party to advance the interests of Black folks, and the things areas where we feel that he fell short. However, the only way that any of us will be able to correct that is that we will have to actually repeat his feat. And that's quite a tall order. And so, again, my condolences to his family.
I want to read, Sandy Barnaby said, without Reggie's knowledge, that speaks to the importance of the constant need to develop leadership to replace each of us. That's something Damon and I talk about a lot. Even when we first started, we were talking about people like when Napoleon Holmes passed. We were like, yo, we let that brother pass with a wealth of knowledge and didn't take more time picking his brain. You know what I'm saying? And we always talk about encouraging and passing on what we know to that next generation of people that's going to be doing, the next generation of truth speakers and that are going to be out there doing what we do. For far too long, we've been holding on to what we have, and then we die with that, and then the next generation is struggling to try to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We don't build up. True leaders create leaders. You know what I'm saying? Under them, and we have to do more of that. And that is not something a lot of Democrats in Westchester have done, which is why I had a bone to pick with many of them. We need to continue to build leaders. I also want to say, lastly, so the issue was scheduled to come out in the next few days, the January issue. We are redoing it. Mr. Lafayette will be on the cover, and several pages will be dedicated to him to celebrate his life. So it will probably be out a week later, but he will be on the cover. We've all collectively made that decision, and we're working on putting together some sort of celebration of his life for the paper. So if you want to send in your thoughts, your quotes about him, about what he meant to you, if you have pictures that you want to share of his life for publishing, please send them to blackwestchester@gmail.com. Again, we will be celebrating his life in this issue. I'll push some stuff off to the next issue or whatever, that was in there, but we're redoing the paper that was ready to go to the printer to celebrate his life. And without further ado, we are going to get to our guest, our brother, Mr. Corey Pegues, in the place to be. What's going on, sir?
Hey,
Hello, dude.
y'all can see me? Hey, what's going on?
What's good? What's good? First, let me just say, thank you for even thinking about me last night to have me come in and moderate the Q&A session. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, that was huge. I appreciate that. And I was
family.
Right. And I was saying with Bob, I said it's always cool when we're out doing different things and we making money and we break bread with our brothers. You know what I'm saying? So like I always appreciate that. So we need to do more of that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So how are you, my brother?
I'm great, man. I'm not doing better than Damon. I gotta step my book game up.
Yo, that's funny.
He got the whole backdrop of the books.
Whole backdrop.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, is that a little bit
right here.
I was like, damn, is that a little bit too much?
Yo, listen, it's the hustle and the grind, baby. Don't stop.
Promotion.
Look, I'm 5 years in. I'm still hustling books, so it don't stop.
Exactly.
Word up. Yes, everybody who hasn't got the book, start just before we get to the movie. Just talk about the book briefly, where they can get it, and for the people who haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, that's the book over my right shoulder. Your left, you probably seen. It's called Once a Cop, The Street, The Law, Two Worlds, One Man. 3-time award-winning book, bestseller. It's been adapted into a feature documentary now, and hopefully soon a television scripted series. So go out and get it on Amazon. You get it at all Barnes and Noble stores, all over, Target, online. Support the book, please.
No doubt. So our brother Damon don't be on often. I'm gonna let him start off the interview. I'm gonna let him kick it off. It's yours. The mic is yours, D.
Yo, brother, I'm stuck in the house, right? So, but I did get the documentary on YouTube. I had to watch it. I can't be sitting there talking to you and having watched. So I watched it, man. One thing, yo, brother, there's a lot of things being in law enforcement and doing what you have done in law enforcement. I felt when they came at you, and after watching the documentary, I see it even clearer that there's a double standard, when it comes to Black law enforcement officers. When we come from the hood, we come from the streets, but nobody wants to talk about when other ethnic groups, glorify the mob, glorify those people who break laws, but they wanted to come for you, for something that you didn't do. You didn't get arrested, right? You went into the military. You passed all their background checks, right? You rose up the ranks. And then when you discuss, your background, like many other Black people, they had a problem with that. Just do you see from your position? Do you see that double standard? I mean, does anybody else see the double standard?
Hey, me and you've been in the trenches a long time. We already know what the double standard is. Here you got NYPD just recently had 2 cops who admitted to murdering people while they was working in uniform, and they didn't call them thug cops.
Exactly.
I attempted to murder somebody, and I was the worst person in the world. The gun didn't even go off, and I'm this whole piece of whatever. But they try to lock me into 13 to 18, 5 years. Forget the other 47 years of my life. It's like, it don't matter. I don't care that you went to school. I don't care that you did all all of that. It don't matter. You sold drugs. You carry guns. That's what you are. Well, they was sadly mistaken because I'm very outspoken. I wasn't gonna shut my mouth because my story was, everybody want to make some money. Like Damon wrote a book. We're trying to make a little bit of money, but more importantly, Damon's trying to help people eat more healthy, and I'm trying to motivate these kids that you can make some mistakes. You made mistakes in your life, but you can do the 180 like I did, and that's what it's really about. They get your question was, does anybody see it? They absolutely see it. They ain't crazy. They see it. They gotta see it. If they can't see it, it's something wrong, because they're always saying they have problems with recruiting the minority neighborhoods, these people from the streets. But damn, I think the face of recruitment in America should be Corey Pegues. If you're looking to go into inner cities, with some young misguided kids, right? I mean, who else do you want to put out there to say, hey, you did some bad things, what this guy did? And matter of fact, we took him to the president of the United States and then had a personal introduction with President Obama. So I couldn't be that damn bad. They take me to go see the president. The Secret Service had
brother, that's our story, man. Like that's our
all. And I tell people that all the time, Dave. My story is no different than a whole bunch of other people. I just need the opportunity and the vehicle to tell the story, to get the book deal and so on and so forth. I know 100 cops that's been in the streets and did all kind of crazy things, but I had the opportunity. So, like I was telling AJ last night, my story is everybody's story. This is my story, but this is all the stories for all of us that's been out in the streets, not just law enforcement, doctors, lawyers, firemen, whatever. Like, I'm speaking a story for us that grew up in the trenches and got out and made something about ourselves. This is what, I'm still baffled, but listen, we got a whole Black administration in New York City now. Let's see if they remember the story.
They better, because look, the mayor got arrested, right? The mayor got arrested. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's Eric's story. It's Eric's story. So like, we have to be mature enough and to understand and stand on our Blackness and say this is our story, because Corey and Bob and AJ, it's a double standard. Like, we're not supposed to stand on our Blackness.
That's right.
But they stand on their whiteness all the time.
I wanted to add while you were saying that, Corey, while you don't know, that's Dr. Bob's story too. He didn't go into law enforcement, but he had that life and he turned himself considerably around, and a lot of people don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's he got a very inspirational story, somewhat like yours. You know what I'm saying? But he just didn't.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that any Black man that lived, if you lived that era of the 80s, that crack era, and you survived and you made somebody yourself, you're an American hero as far as I'm concerned, because I should be dead or in jail. The only reason I wasn't, I probably ran a little bit faster, was a little luckier, and probably had a little angel running on my shoulder, So listen, we all got the same story, but the golden part of it is it's over. They still want to. Every time they ask me about that stuff, I'm like, man, I won't even talk about that stuff no more. It's over, man. Why y'all keep bringing? Let's talk about the wonderful arc of change. That's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about. I'm not talking to y'all about that, but these people, they just want to lock you in to, so how did it feel carrying a gun? The same way it felt when I was a cop carrying a damn gun. It felt the
same. I did want to firstly, I mean, that's everyone's story, and it is part of our generational experience. And whether you were a personal participant in drug dealing, or whether your family had to deal with the ramifications, very few people were left untouched by the crack wave that hit the East Coast and beyond in the 80s and 90s. And for complex reasons, it was very hard to resist the temptation to go out there and get that bread. It's money, you know what I mean? Good paying money. One thing, I always tell my story. Every time I start out my class, I actually share with my students a little biographical blurb that was done on me when I graduated and got a scholarship, and that talked about, hey, this man was out here, but a couple of years ago he was locked up and stuff. But I always start to tell my story because I think it's very important for young Black and brown men who are living in the urban centers to understand that your potential can't be limited by the streets if you only push yourself beyond them. And even if you manage to get caught up, there's light beyond it, and you should try to grab the brass ring as soon as possible, because like so many people, man, we've lost people. I lost 2 brothers to the streets. Their memory will always haunt my family. There's never a time when their absence is not present at family gatherings, holidays. I know my mother will always have a deep hole in her heart for the loss of her sons. And if we are going to actually turn around this problem, then we've got to be able to have role models, people who can talk about the transformation. And very importantly, let people know you could still be who you are, going to play professional roles and still be that dude that you are when you got your suit off or your uniform off or whatever. And so that reason, man, I think this is, a don't miss movie and a must read book. Now, to the double standard, because I thought about this last night when we went in the theater. I'm quite aware of the rumors that have dogged the paragon of law and order, Rudy Giuliani, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who instituted the broken glass windows policy in New York that is credited by many, although Corey, you, I think, rightly took exception to it, credited by many for curbing crime, the alarming crime rates that were in New York at the time. And, anyone wants to find out more, there was both an investigative report and a movie done on Giuliani. And I'm going to read just a word or two. Here we go. Now, according to Wayne Barrett, and AJ probably remembers Wayne because he was a writer with the Village Voice, a longtime investigative journalist for the Village Voice. A rather different father emerges. It seems the mayor's dad, Harold Giuliani, was a 5'11", big-knuckled man who wore Coke bottle glasses and made a living as muscle, which in Brooklyn means that at that time worked as a debt collector for a loan sharking operation. He swung a mean bat and was a most skilled craftsman. Now, if Giuliani, who became not only a mayor but was also a federal prosecutor, has this as part of his past and people have managed to overlook it, it seems like the rest of us should be able to get a fair shake as well.
That's right.
Absolutely. The one thing that Bob said, and it shows in the movie too, you did it your way and you didn't change. Like, they showed, the footage of you, once you took off the uniform, they was like, yo, you look like a thug. You look like the dudes that they arrest. You know what I'm saying? When you didn't have the uniform on. And they were trying to get you to do certain things. Just like, yo, I'm not going to change being me. I'm going to be me. And you saw that all the way through. And that a lot of us lose. You know what I'm saying? We sell our souls to get to wherever we trying to get, or get the promotion, or chase the raises and all that. You stayed true to who you was, and that comes through. And I think that's important. Important message for the young generation to see that.
Yeah, it's important, but I and there was an inspector and a captain in the room, and the inspector hit me up today and was like, "Listen, man, you motivated me to start speaking out more than that." So I'm like, "Hold on, Tiger, calm down.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't get too crazy, because if you're really not built like me and Damon, don't even delve into it. But there's other ways you can speak out. There's other things you could do. Don't look at this movie and let this movie mess around and jam you and your family up. If you want to go out here on this soapbox, you got to be able to do it and live with it. So for me, it was like you're even chasing, like, it's how far was I going to chase the money? Like I said last night, I'm making like 180,000 my last salary or whatever. Like, what am I make? 250, 300? Like, at what point you like, yo, all right, now let me make some change. Let me start speaking out. But I was speaking out when I was making 75,000. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We've been in the streets a long time, but I just don't. I never got blinded by the success. Like I said in the documentary, I could have kept my mouth shut, and I would have been a 3-star chief. Damon know that. That's quickly. I would have been. It would have happened. But for me, it was like I could be a chief, and they still treating my people wrong. It's not going to work. That never worked for me, because I'm a firm believer that I'm a part of the 3 M's, Malcolm, Martin, and Mega, not in any particular order. If they didn't make the sacrifices they made, we wouldn't even be able to have no Black Westchester magazine. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if you get some status, you should actually try to use your position to try to reach back. I couldn't save the world, but I was going to save my AOP, my area of operation. I was going to change that. If you was around me, you're going to treat these people with respect. I don't care what you do when you get to the other precincts, but when you're going to be around here with me, you're going to treat these people with respect. But if everybody did it, then I won't look like the Lone Ranger. Dame won't look like the Lone Ranger, But I don't know what it is with these Black executives, because like in America, when these things happen, they're saying, where are the Black cops? And that's what we're saying. Where the Black cops? They know it's Black cops out there, but they're so quiet that you can't understand. Where are they? They're saying, yo, you can't be the only person that get it. You know what I'm saying? So in some people's eyes, I'm the only one that get it. It's insane to be the only one that get it. Like, you got 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars. It only could be 1 4-star. So if I had 3, I would really be out of control. It only could be, they're all chasing for like 1 spot. Like, only 1 person could get 4 stars. And it only could be 1 police commissioner. So why you got this much power? You got 10, in NYPD, you got 10, 15,000 people working under you, and you still can't try to fix things. It's just something wrong. I gave a fight with them Negroes a long time ago, Dane.
No, listen.
I wanted to say real quick. I wanted to say one of our readers, Corey, just after we was talking, she wanted to let both you and Damon know she just ordered both of your books off Amazon.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Damon.
I think where Black officers fail to understand civil rights movement. One of the main reasons of the civil rights movement was to get more Black people in these police departments, because they was using the police as tools of oppression. But one of the problems was, which I happened to find it online somewhere on somebody that wrote a thesis or something, and it was very interesting, because they said that the Black people that they were hiring, right, looked at the Black community the same way as the white people did, right? So they despised, so it was a class, they made sure that it was a class system, right? So even when we talk about now getting Black officers that come from the community, you know, they don't understand the struggle it was for them to make $120,000, $130,000. They just think, you know, they just got the job. No, people sacrifice for you to even have that job, because even if you have, you know, neighborhoods that have that majority Black, the police department is still majority white. So we understand. So for Black officers not to get their damn responsibility, it's just not about a paycheck. See, we just think it's about a paycheck, getting some benefits. We could get a nice car. We could buy some red bottom sneakers, and we could get some Gucci bags, Louis bags, and look nice on Instagram. No, it's about responsibility. Mm-hmm. See, and we forgot all that. So when the little ones or twos that pop up, you know, speak out, oh my God, Lord, oh hell no. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then they said, well, we're gonna teach this Negro a lesson. Whip, and then all the other Negroes fall in line. They ain't gonna say nothing. You know, they're not gonna say nothing. And you know, and I think myself, you, Corey, even Eric Adams had the time when they said, well, we're gonna make you say Toby. Right. You know, and he still said Kunta Kinte at the end of the day, right? So we all see that, you know, and it's sad to see that we can't stick together, you know, as a unit without being scared, you know, because they get scared. You know, Corey, you on the job and they say, oh man, don't mess with that Corey Pegues. You don't stay away from that Corey Pegues. He's trouble. You know, and the first thing these Negroes do, well, I ain't messing with Corey Pegues.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I was actually kind of happy. Like, yeah, I don't want to be where you. I want to be with you, house Negroes anyway.
You know, it's funny, Corey. So we started Black Westchester, and a bunch of, you know, the Democrats in the community, Negroes, they were like, yo, we like what you're doing, but you might want to watch the company you keeping. Trying to get me the like warn me off of Damon, not knowing me and Damon go back. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my partner. But they was like, yo, you might want to watch the company you keep. You know, you could go farther. Like, you know, that whole thing, if you separate from him, you know, he's gonna hold you back. And I was like, yeah, you know, I got plenty of warnings in the beginning. Like, yo,
you know, I never even brought into that. The first time if somebody told me not to mess with somebody, I didn't mess with the person who told me not to mess with somebody. Exactly. Yeah. I don't play that. I never played that. I remember I was the commander of the 6-7. They sent this old white lieutenant from like the 72nd precinct. It was the nicest. I had the most violent precinct over there in Brooklyn. He was from the nicest precinct. This guy, so I'm like 33, 34. This guy was all of them, damn near about 50 something, 53, 54. And brought in, and the chief of the borough, Irish chief, his driver called me, said, the chief wants you to put him on midnights. I said, yeah. I said, all right. So I sat the man down. This guy old enough to be my father. So I sat him down. I said, I don't know what you got kicked out of that other precinct for. I said, but you're getting a fresh slate here. I said, I'm going to tell you this right now. Where you want to work at? He said, sir, I would love to do day tours. I said, all right, you want to do day tours? I said, but the chief want me to put you on midnights. I said, I want to take some heat for this, but it don't really matter because it's my precinct. I'm not comfortable with you 55 years old running around East Flatbush on the midnights and catching a fucking heart attack.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
I'm gonna put you on day tours. Man, that chief was so damn mad. Like, I never went into that. Like, you want him to work midnights, chief? You got 40 people work upstairs. Now you got 41. Take them up there and put them up there on midnights with you. But don't come down here and give me your fight your fight. Nah, I didn't operate like that. I was just so different. And like no other commander would ever do that to no 2-star chief. It was not even gonna happen. But I was like, I got Ray Kelly, so I don't even really need you. Ray Kelly put me here. So until Ray Kelly called me and said you gotta go, they hated that. I used to always say, I got Ray Kelly. Ray Kelly, he the only one who make appointments for commanders. I know I wasn't your pick. I had to tell the chief. I said, I know I wasn't your pick, but sometimes you got to deal with this shit that's dropped in your lap. So I'm here, baby.
Yo, so Corey, so the people watch it, man, because, when people want change in their police department, now you commanded the precinct. Now you create the change, right? You see what needs to be done, and you do it, right? So from your expertise, because you ran a precinct, explain to the people, when they don't see shit change. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you put people in place, you don't see change. And then people just act like it's the norm, but it's not. You have to have the right people in place for the proper change.
Exactly. Like you can't get Michael Jordan and put him on a hockey team. They tried that in baseball. You see what happened with his baseball career, right? Probably the greatest athlete of all time. He couldn't hit that damn 100-mile-an-hour ball. That ball start coming at you. It's different. Exactly. So most people need girl.
We're gonna talk about that. Wait, we're gonna talk about
I know we're gonna talk. I just had to put it on the screen, though. Let
me tell you, like most people go into these. And this police thing is such a rat race to the top, Damon. It's such a rat race to the top. Like no one wants to disrupt anything. They just want to go on to get along and let me get out of here. And that's, they was trying to line me up like that. And I was like, it ain't gonna work. I can't do that. Like I see things going on in this precinct. I got there. A chief, me and Damon, and y'all know by name. I got there. He said, I was there like, I might have been 3 days. Black chief, y'all know. I'll tell you offline.
Right? Like there was many black chiefs.
Right. I'll tell you offline. So he says, you got this kid. It was a young Irish kid. He had 3 years on the job. He had about 9 complaints. He said, I want you to sit him down. All his complaints is use of force. He's heavy-handed. He's hitting people. First thing I look at the chief, I'm like, he been here 3 years? The other guy been here 3 years. Like, but now you dumped it. The white guy was here for 3 years. I gotta fix it. No problem. I'm the attitude adjuster. I sat him in front of me. I said, hey, Bobby, how you doing? What's going on? You're a little heavy-handed over here. You over here hitting people. You got all these complaints. What's going on? And he was honest with me. He said, listen, boss, when I first got here, I didn't really understand the people. I said, oh, I get it. I see. You didn't understand black people, right? They told you was coming to East Flatbush. You thought you was in the OK Corral, right? That's what you thought. Fine. I said, well, look. Those people look like me. Do you realize they look like me, these people in this community? He says, yes. I said, so it's a new sheriff in town. We ain't tolerating that. You get one complaint, you out of here. I'm not even going to play that. Matter of fact, had his cell phone. I said, call your sergeant on the cell phone. Got his sergeant, sat him. I said, hey, Sarge, this is your new driver. I said, if he get he get one complaint, I don't care if it's for discourteous remarks. Me and you gonna have a problem. But see, I was the attitude adjuster, but nobody else is gonna do that. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else is gonna do that. But I had to do those type of things to set a tone. Like, yo, this dude is crazy, man. Don't even do nothing on his watch because he ain't playing with you. But nobody else is doing that. So I'm the radical. I'm the crazy one. But guess what? My crime was down. My complaints was down. The community was in an uproar. Like, yo, we love this guy. And I left, and it went right back to the same old thing because it's not everybody doing it.
And the problem even with black politicians, because I talk about it in the next paper. They don't want to hire Corey Pegues, or people that are qualified. It's like they want the system to continue to be broken, and it's sad, and these are the people that the black community vote for unconditionally, right? And they don't put people like a Corey Pegues in these positions the head law enforcement departments, so we can have proper policing, in communities of color. And I think it's sad because, you have black politicians look at Corey the same way. Well, he's a radical. He's yeah, but he's going to fix your damn police department. Like I don't understand. I don't. And politics they have to explain it, man.
They know. See, that somebody like me and you, Dame, they can't box me in. I'm not a puppet. I'm gonna go.
Absolutely.
I'm playing my own music, and I'm never gonna disrespect you as my boss. I'm never gonna disrespect my community. Not gonna do that. But I'm not gonna be a puppet for you. If you ask me, it's like when I went up to interview at Mount Vernon. Y'all know recently I was a finalist for one of the and I let Damon talk me into that nonsense going up to Mount Vernon for a finalist for assistant police commissioner, whatever the hell the position is, right? But it's my man. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And I never forget, I had an interview with like 4 or 5 guys, somebody from White Plains, all this, about 5 of them. When I finished the interview, the last question the guy said was, why would you want to interview for this job? You overqualified. You need to be the commissioner, not you don't need to be the deputy commissioner. You need to be the commissioner. And whatever happened. Same thing happened in Long Beach. I go to Long Beach last year. Same thing. I'm finalist for the job. And they're like, yo, I wow them on these interviews, right? But this whole thing, this whole thug cop, he's a radical. And I'm look at them and saying, well, if you look at the body of work, 21 years in my career, they didn't label me no radical. I had some of the best assignments. I became a radical after I told my story. It's crazy. When you look at the body of work, they wouldn't put me in no corner nowhere. They was giving me some of the best assignments. I was driving around billionaires because they got this little thing with the police foundation where the commissioner like drives. I was the guy he called like, hey, Ralph Lorenz in town, take him around the 6-7 precinct, throw a vest on him, let him see what's going on. He's going to donate a bunch of money to the foundation. I wasn't the radical. They sent me to Columbia University for free. I wasn't the radical. I don't get when I became radical, but I always consistently spoke out.
Right, but that's what happens, right? You go in these interviews, your career is immaculate, right?
Right.
And they don't like your political views, and these are black people. And I'm talking about even black elected officials.
Yeah,
and then they do the community a disservice, and they hire someone that's less qualified and less educated than you, and a lot of times they be white.
As soon as we left the theater, we get in the car, and one of the first things Bob says, yo, Mount Vernon screwed up. Like, yo, Mount Vernon screwed up now bringing that brother in. Like, Mount Vernon screwed up big time. Like, that's the first thing he said after we left the theater last night.
Right. One thing that became apparent to me after I watched the show was not only did you have the leadership skills that were required to address some of the real problems that, are afflicting police and community relations, you had credibility with cops, but also with the community as a whole. And I think to have someone in top leadership who could actually go out and credibly say, yo, I did what you did, so we already know where this is going. There's another route that you could take. And listen, I'm going to let y'all know. Y'all already know. If you don't, I know who you are. Mm-hmm. So let's bring all this shit to a halt. And that's a different kind of approach, just in terms of personal rapport. But also one of the things I said to AJ is, yo, Corey remind me, like, in terms of his credentials and professional accomplishments, he remind me of the last commissioner we had under Rich, Robert Kelly, who was, highly educated guy who didn't merely just understand from personal experience, but also had the knowledge base to go with it and to think through about what are the problems that are confronting the the police departments and, you know, what other alternative approaches are there and can speak to it, you know, commanding all the relevant facts. I mean, I remember you said you had to go home and study 18 hours to bring yourself up to date on the statistics. And as we go to a very data intensive kind of policing, you're trying to make evidence-based decisions about where to deploy people. Not everyone have the background to do that. And I think you really combine so many qualities, brother. I said to myself, how could they possibly even pass up on, you know, because I feel confident, Court, that if you came up to Mount Vernon, you could tell everyone, every police officer in the department, listen, brothers, sisters, I walked the beat, I've been out on the street. Mount Vernon ain't got shit on East Flatbush.
I promise you.
Tell you now.
Or South Jamaica or South Queens. Yeah.
Right. He got shit right. I know it from I know the game from both the side of the cats who's out on the corner and the people who gotta police them. And in the end, get your shit together. Get it together, because we're not gonna tolerate it. Because right now, the Mount Vernon Police Department is in crisis, precisely because we've had years, decades of poor, I would say even cowardly leadership from the mayor's office on down.
All right, that Bob said that. I didn't say it.
I said it. Hopefully y'all ain't gonna see me on the street if you do.
The words of Dr. Bob are not necessarily the words of no.
But I mean, let's keep it real, because that's the reason why this doesn't happen, because they are scared of courting controversy and stirring up people's ire. When you begin to especially but not exclusively, white officers who do not know how to act with restraint and give them a license to be cowboys. And I'm speaking because, yo, this shit happened to me, not just as a motherfucker out on the street, but even when I'm working on my PhD and trying to go places. I got police in Mount Vernon doing the most wildest shit, like clipped me for smoking a clip. The dude threw me in a car and he was like, asked me, I'm 45 years old. Asked me, do I know about bodies in Mount Vernon? I was like, man, if you don't get out of here with that shit, that's just inappropriate.
Let me tell you, Bob, Doc, when I was going through this Mount Vernon process, you know, I had to go back and forth a couple of times. So, I did my due diligence and I'm looking at it. I'm saying, yo, this is a this is a cakewalk for me. This is because in the police world, it's just about gathering information, analyzing it, and deploying personnel. And it's very simple doing those three things, because now with technology and all that, we know where all the crime is. It ain't even, and I think in Mount Vernon, if I'm not mistaken, it was like maybe 3 or 4 areas, but those areas not even big areas. It was a couple of strips where you could see like, all right, we got to clean this up over here. You know, poor, people living in projects. It's a project. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But that would probably be the easiest job I ever had in my life in Mount Vernon, in the police world. It was just that simple. I have over 400 people working for me as a commander. I don't even think they have that many cops in Mount Vernon.
About 220.
Yeah.
And another thing I said, Mount Vernon, the city of Mount Vernon is you probably had a precinct bigger than the city of Mount Vernon.
Oh yeah, my precinct was like 4 square miles.
No, that's what Mount Vernon is. That's all Mount Vernon is, 4 square miles.
Yeah. So I don't know what the hell is going on up there, but I know one thing: they need to get those cops in control, because you have federal oversight. Now they got federal oversight over there and all of this stuff going on. The scandal that the other cop was talking about, people getting set up and all of this. All of that stuff is leadership. All that stuff is leadership. That's leadership 101. You already know it's leadership. You got to bring these leaders in, and they have to be told, like, listen, it's not gonna happen on my watch. I don't know what y'all was doing when the last guy was here, but now your wife gonna be mad at me if you mess up. You mess up, your family gonna be mad at me. That's just what it is. But you gotta have somebody that got the gravitas, the balls to go in there and to say, see, I'm not friend. I don't have a tooth in the game in Mount Vernon. I don't know nobody except for my man Dave, and he'll be my little assistant. Other than that,
that's what I said.
and you know, and my man wife. Other than that, I don't have no teeth in the game. So everybody else is fair game. Like, yeah, I don't need none. You got to do this. You need to do that. Boom, boom, boom.
And I said that's what made you good. That's what would have made you good, because you don't, like, too many people in Mount Vernon got relationships with this one and their families go back to this one. And you ain't had none of that. You ain't had none of that. You ain't had none of that. Go ahead, Bob.
And without it, I mean, the city pays a heavy price, not just in terms of the trauma that people actually suffer when they have a cop accost them and essentially accuse them of a serious felony crime. There was no reason, just to cite my example again, for an officer to even begin to broach questions about a murder because you knocked me with half a joint. What do that got to do with the weed that I'm smoking right now? Absolutely nothing. I think you high and not me. You know, so you need to just really rethink the whole game. And it happens several times. It's not only once, you know, and we've all seen it. But beyond that, the city pays in terms of its finances and also the level of trust. Because we know, and I want to underscore, Mount Vernon paid a very heavy price financially for out of control, reckless policing that often resulted in abuse of authority, all kind of craziness that many of us actually on the show can speak to personally. But it's cost the city millions of dollars.
No, it hasn't cost the city. It's going to cost the city, because you got to understand, when the Attorney General, United States Attorney General, Southern District of New York, has a press conference about an investigation of a police department. When the President of the United States, in a speech, mentions the investigation of the same police department
at a commencement speech at a college,
it's not going to be a cakewalk. They're not going to walk in and look. There's a lot of great cops. There's a lot of great cops.
Yes.
But, and the problem is, this could have been avoided. This could have been avoided because it wasn't dealt with, right, through a couple of administrations, right? Just not one administration, through a couple of administrations, it wasn't dealt with. So now you got at this point, and people think they just gonna come in and be like, oh, y'all guys are good. No, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The AG, the United States Attorney General, the Southern District, is not going to have a press conference and think he's going to give you the thumbs up to keep going. They're going to come down with a consent decree.
Yeah.
They're going to come down with a consent decree. And then you're going to get a monitor. This is how it works for people that don't understand how it works. They're going to investigate, and if they find some criminal stuff, they're going to send it over to criminal. But they're going to come down with some civil rights violations. They're going to do it. They're going to find it, right? They're going to find it, because not all police departments are great. You know, I worked in correction. We was under oversight for about 4 years. But guess what? It's going to cost about $35,000, maybe $75,000 a month, right, to pay the person that's going to oversight. Mount Vernon ain't got the money for that. Mount Vernon does not have the money to pay $35,000 to $75,000 for this one guy and his team to sit there and make sure y'all do shit right. And that's what it's going to cost, because people didn't want to stand up and correct the problem in the past. And now it falls on the people of Mount Vernon. It's a black eye on the good police officers,
right,
that go to work every day.
Right.
And give the service to the community, because you didn't want to take care of the few fuck ups. And that's how it is in all law enforcement departments. That's how it is at my job. I ain't got no problem saying it. That's how it is. That's how it is in NYPD. Corey knows.
Hey, Damon, I told Bob and AJ last night at the thing, you know, within a week or two, any job, who the asshole is, especially in law enforcement, corrections or police. You know immediately because everybody's like, "Yo, I'm not working with this dude. I won't be near this dude. This dude's gonna get me in trouble." So they know that, and they just pacify. Damon, you know the correction officers that always get in the use of force. The bosses know who they are, but it's no checks and balances there. It's like I sat the young kid down and I was like, all right, I know what you're doing, but it stops now. It stops right now. But that's why you need somebody. Like, they probably need to hire somebody from the outside because all this knowing people and it's too much of that dynamic there. You got to bring somebody from the outside that's going to come and just change it and have the liberty. The mayor got to give them the liberty to just say, hey, I need you to change this. That's a chocolate city, man. And it's not that big. It's not even that much crime. I probably have more crime in 3 days than they have in 2 weeks. You understand? So it should actually be the prototype police force in America if it's done correctly.
Exactly.
Right. A real opportunity is being missed by Mount Vernon's elected Black leaders who insist on playing by an outmoded set of policies instead of actually taking some chances and experimenting with new approaches that might actually show the way for the rest of the country, how we might do different policing. And I want to say very clearly, and I think it's been stated, everyone should know, listen, no one on this panel is opposed to police per se.
Right.
We've all expressed the need for reform, but no one here is calling to defund the police and abolish the police entirely. In the absence of alternatives to the police, we need someone to help maintain order, especially on communities that are, living on the brink of poverty, and everyone is in this real serious cutthroat struggle with each other, trying to get this money out on the streets.
Right.
Because this problem, Corey, listen, Damon and AJ know this problem goes back decades in Mount Vernon. Several Mount Vernon police officers who served on the street crimes unit, who were my adversaries when I was running on the streets. Martha, Mikey, and Lieutenant Robert Astorino, father to county executive. Father to the county executive. Wow. Were all indicted on federal corruption charges for shaking down drug dealers for big money. I think the early 90s. And once that happened, that is a clear signal that house needs to be cleaned up, and we need to come in here and have a forceful hand that's going to insist that these guys who are out on the streets do right. And I gotta say, I just want to be clear, because me and AJ, we the nicest officer. This dude was so nice. AJ, remember we was riding around. I ain't got my inspection expired and shit.
Right.
We playing cat and mouse with this dude like every day. And finally one day he caught up to me and he was like, yo, listen. And he just said, listen, take your car home. He issued me a ticket, get your car home, get an inspector, brother. That's it. And was very nice. We laughed and joked about it. I was like,
we gave him a shout out on the show.
Yeah, on the show.
And everything about
the
way he handled it. Because yo, Damon, he was like, yo, brother, I've seen you, like, if I just saw you one time, that's it. I've seen you riding with this for the last week or so. Like,
yes.
Like he told him, like, I've been watching you. I had to pull you over, like, yo, dude, you need to get this done. Yeah.
Listen, there's very good cops out there.
Absolutely.
Black, white, yellow, brown. There's very good cops out there. And just like Corey said, it's always the issue with all law enforcement departments, even with corrections, is the management. When the management is out of touch with rank and file, and when the management is out of touch with the society that is sworn to protect, right? You get buffoonery, and it's no less than that. And and I'm talking 33 years in the game. You get buffoonery. But it's up to the politicians, man. It is up to the politicians. And like I say in the article that's coming out, man, we expect our politicians to give us what we need. It's a quid pro quo. We give you our vote as Black people. You give us professional, qualified people, especially we look for Black people, people of color, to run these law enforcement departments. You know, and that's what we expect.
And you know, Dave, that's what I've been saying. Like what people should do, I think politics should go this way now. If you're running for mayor, as a citizen, I want to know the 3 people you choosing from to be your police commissioner. Like straight up. You gotta lock them right in now. Ain't no, I'm gonna pick, like Eric said, I'm gonna pick a lady. So that gave you the United States of America. Well, I'm living in New York City, I'm locking them in. Which give me 3 names. What are the 3 names that you're gonna pick? Now I'm an educated voter. You know, not only the police, who's gonna be your fire commissioner, who's sanitation. Give me 3 names across the board. Now, oh, I like these 3 names. Now you're gonna get my vote. The days of them just coming in and just dropping people in and dropping people in. Now they got your vote, like Dame said, and you're saying, yo, I ain't vote for him to put this clown over here. We got to start locking them in, man. I'm telling you, that's the way to go.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but so Wade said, shine a line on good policing and promote the efforts of good cops who work on identifying bad cops. Let me tell you something.
We have to protect those that do. No, we have one of those here. We have one of those whistleblower type cops that identify.
But see, we have to. Part of it is a responsibility of the community itself, because they don't rally around the good cop, right?
Right.
They only complain about the bad one. They don't rally around the good cop to give the good cop the backbone to talk about the bad cop, because you know why? It's less of them. It's less bad cops than it is good cops, you know. But we're caught. Listen. Let me tell you something. I tell you straight up, and I'll tell people at my job, right? You do something stupid around me, I'm telling. I might as well have a T-shirt say I'm telling. You know why?
They sound like me.
Exactly. You're not jamming up my 33 years and my pension because you want to do something stupid. That's not happening. And I don't care, blue line or whatever. No. The only line we talking about is pension, right? That's the pension line. We ain't talking about nothing else. See, and these cops stay quiet, and then they get caught out there, and then they want to talk. No, it's too late. It's too late. And let me tell you, if I was a politician, I have I'm telling fund, right? You get paid to tell. You get $5,000. You get $5. Listen, that's how dude. It's all about Corey. You know, it's all about the paper, right? You know, a lot of times people don't speak up because they don't want to get jammed up. They don't, so you know what? Let's make it. Let's give them a financial,
$1,000 bonus, $1,000 a month,
$1,000 bonus. Start telling. And I bet you, you put it in $1,000 a month bonus. That's about $12. Yeah, that's $12,000. It's going to be a lot of cops getting pulled out of goddamn briefing.
Oh yeah, they're gonna lose that. That fund gonna dry up quick.
Cause come on, man. This is ridiculous, and it's only a few of them, man. And they bully the majority, man.
It's only a few. It's such a small. When I was on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, I made the mistake of saying that I think I said 80 to 85% of cops are good cops. It's just the 10%. This lady went on Twitter and was like, Corey Pegues just said there's 400,000 bad cops in America. So I stay away from that percentage now, damn. There's some good cops and some bad cops. She did the math real quick.
Yeah, they did the math quick on you, right? What? You talking about nationwide?
Yeah, I was talking about nationwide.
Hey, that's a big hey.
No, like she was right. Like, if you go with the percentage and the numbers, that's why I stay away from that, because she put like 4. I was like, damn, it's that many bad cops. I didn't know it was that many out there.
Listen, man.
Where can people see the document? Where can people see this? The documentary? Where's it going to be streaming, or what's the plans so people can find out more about it?
Yeah, the documentary is playing right now through Thursday. Coming up. It's about 15 more viewers at the Quad Cinema. That's 34 East 13th Street in New York City. Or they could stream it on Apple TV, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Redbox, Spectrum, Verizon, and Vudu.
YouTube.
Streaming service.
It's on YouTube too.
And it's on YouTube.
And I'm not going to give anything away, y'all, but me and AJ marveled last night at the amount of original picture and video footage from your actual days. He was like, yo, how
he recorded himself for years.
Word, like crazy.
Oh, Bob, listen. So let's touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I want to touch on that.
That's what makes this documentary, A Cops and Robbers Story, so compelling. People are saying, yo, where you got all that footage from?
That's right.
Well, very early. So I was 3 years and 8 months removed from being in the streets to being a cop. I was like, yo, I gotta document this. There's no way. I gotta document. So I started, with the VCR camera, and then, like I said last night, with the public speaking, I started speaking out and stuff, and then my wife would be like, yo, you keep saying so I had to keep recording myself.
Exactly.
When you record yourself, you see the mistakes.
Right.
And it just morphed into, I have so much footage of me, like some of the stuff in the documentary, like me at the locker room getting dressed. I forgot about that. That's in like 96, 97. I forgot about that stuff that was up there. It's crazy. And I was journaling. I was journaling. I told you I was
right. Okay.
So I had 21 journals.
Wow.
And I thought that was great.
That was real. Those was real journals. But let me tell you,
that was great.
It was no method to the madness. I just knew, I was like, I'm gonna write a book. That's all I had in mind. And I was like, yo, I gotta capture all of this stuff. And now it paid off. It paid off. I'm so happy I wrote it down. Because I would have been to some publishing house talking about I carry guns, I try to shoot somebody. They would have been like, man, get the fuck out this office, man. They don't believe this. But I got books to prove. I'm telling you, my book agent had those journals staged on the table. Simon & Schuster, Random House, Doubleday. They all came in. We was pitching, and they was like, what's in those books? He was like, nah, he just been journaling for 21 years. They was like, writing for 21 years? Yeah, so it worked out. So to all the people out there, if you want to write a book, make sure you start journaling. By the way, one of the reasons I wrote a book is because I went to this seminar, and it was called Everyone Has a Book in Them. Like all four of y'all right there. Damon did the health book, but he got a whole nother book that's
absolutely
the health book. So I went to, his name is Ola Joseph. He wrote like 15 books, and that just stuck with me. I was like, wow, the way he broke it down. I don't remember how he broke it down, but when you really, like with me, when you look at that, you read my book, like my father's name was Richard Russell Sloan. My mother's name was Eva Jewel Capel, and my name Corey Pegues. Like my whole life, it took me 42 years to realize why my name is Pegues. I know it was my mother's maiden name, but until I started writing the book, it hit me that because she was on welfare, I couldn't have his last name.
That's right.
And they used to do what they used to call them spot checks. They used to come and do face to face or whatever So if y'all, and that's one thing I realized. So if y'all sat down all of these years and y'all start going through your childhood, you're gonna be like, damn. Like, some of my family members, man, mom and then we wasn't poor. I said, well, shit, I don't know where you was living at. I don't know what house you was living at. You ain't seen no roaches and ain't no mayonnaise sandwiches. You wasn't living in that house. Because, people are embarrassed. But it's like, listen, she was good. She was on welfare. Exactly. And the other thing I realized, even with the welfare, like I wrote in the book, it was easier for her it was better to be on welfare, because on welfare, at least we got medical and dental. That's why I got my dang teeth right now. As opposed to her going to get a $3 an hour job with no benefits.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like, if you sit down and do the memoir, man, yo, it was exciting, man. I learned a lot about myself, which is crazy because I had this deep thoughts. I had to write, so it was deep thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yo, tell me, how long did it take you to pen the book? When you sat down.
Well, the book. So when I got injured, and I asked the doctor. I said, "Can I be a cop again, or play golf?" He said, "You're probably gonna play golf, but you ain't gonna be able to be a cop again." So I told my wife, I said, "Bring my laptop to the hospital," and I started writing right then. And it took me about a year. I wrote my own book, like 325 pages, and then I got the agent. And we got a New York Times bestselling author came to fix up the book. So writing the book from the beginning to the end, once I got the deal, was an 18-month process.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
One of the great in the documentary, which was dope, and one of the things I didn't know that the brother Will, he passed, right?
Yeah.
And I think I met that brother when I went out. We went out. Where did we go? We went to some Applebee's or something like that one night.
Yeah.
We all went out. Right. Yeah, we went out that night because Montego was with me. We all went out to eat, man, and it was a great time spending time with those brothers, man. And one thing. It really, really hit me is that we can't, as Black officers, and which you never did, you never denied your friendship, and you never denied the brotherhood, even having that position that you held, in law enforcement, and I think and it had me also think about myself. Like the first day that I worked inside the jail, it was on 1 West. When I unlocked them, my whole crew came out. You know what I'm saying? So and it made me think about that, right? But and that was and let me tell you, that was the best day I had. I had no problem with none of the other inmates, because these is my dudes. Like, I'm not gonna have no problem with them, And they call me Mr. Jones, and they respect, and we went through the day, right?
Exactly.
But the whole thing is that we have to get to the point where we're and I've been called inmate lover, criminal lover, but they don't do that for them. And we should never deny where we come from. We should never deny who we are for this institution of law enforcement. And I thought that was great that all your friends that you had, from day one, y'all still rocked. Always.
Yeah, and I was rocking.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Like, you go into law enforcement, they want you to delete your life. Like, why should I stop talking to my friend? He's convicted felon, not me. Why? Y'all don't want me to hang with my man? He's convicted felon. I'm not.
But they don't do it for themselves, though. See, and that's and that'd be the white officers saying that to the Black officers. But they don't do it. They don't do it for themselves, because when the little Italian mafias and all them come to jail, they slipping them pizza at night.
That's right.
Come on, man. Like, but that's okay, right? But that's okay how they get treated, But when we just want to have brotherly love, and just go to functions or put a picture on Facebook with someone that we knew for the last 30, 40 years that might have been locked up, we're inmate lover,
exactly.
or we're a criminal lover. See, it's always the white double standard that we have to deal with in law enforcement. And these politicians, especially the Black ones, they don't put people in charge to dead that. They don't put people in charge to dead that, and that's what's needed.
Word.
Word.
Yo, what I have to applaud you on everything. I just asked you all these questions last night, so I'm trying to remember what I didn't ask you today because we just talked last night. What haven't we asked you? Anything we haven't asked you that you want people to know about the documentary, the book, or anything like that? Any questions we haven't asked yet?
Well, what I want the people to know is I want them to put pressure on these black cops in America to start speaking out on issues inside of the police department. When they see something, that old dumbass saying, see something, say something. Well, we need them to say something. So I don't want to be an anomaly because I'm not, but there's a few out there, our good friend, Edwin Raymond, he's a whistleblower, the NYPD 12. There's a few people around, but we need more. We need so much more. I'm so tired of being inundated with people saying, where are all the black cops? Me and Damon, where the black, because the black cops are there, but they're like church mouses. You can't hear them. You can't hear them. And I'm hoping that, like that inspector told me today, it was like, yo, I'm ready to start, speaking out a little more. Yeah, I want that documentary to light a fire into the black cops, say, hey, I did it. Carry guns, was arrested, not convicted, went through the ranks, was fine, cornrows, tattoo, diddy bop, all of that. And look what I did. You can do it. And you don't have to change yourself unless you want to change yourself to be good. But I wasn't changing my character of who I am, who I hang around. They definitely wasn't going to tell me who I could hang with. That wasn't going to happen because I wasn't going to hang with them damn cops. They hated that I didn't hang with. Cops hated that I didn't go to these cop functions and stuff sometimes. Like the precinct club meetings and stuff. I said, nah, man, cops, guns, and liquor, man, I'm going to be in the shootout, man, because I know they're going to call me the N-word. I already
slip out, right?
They're going to get comfortable. It's going to be shots fired at that party. So I'm going to stay away. But yeah, man, I just want, and it's not just cops. Everybody in all professions, man, like, don't let go of your past. Your past is what, like I said, that made me into the person who I am today. A lot of that stuff, yeah, I regret I even did that stuff. But when I look back on it, all of that was building blocks to make me into the man I am today. And I could look in the mirror and say, I did it my way. And I sleep good at night. That I never was sucking up to nobody. I don't know how to get on my knees. I don't know how to do it at all. So most people in these police professions, they sucking up. And Damon tell you, man, they suck. You be looking at them, you be like, man, you serious? Man, will you stop this, man? I can't take it no more.
You got a question, Corey. How do you break the culture of impunity that exists in law enforcement?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, Darlene. It has to be leadership. Damon tell you, it's all leadership. For me, it's about leadership. I have to do a speech in 2 days about qualified immunity, a 30-minute speech about qualified immunity, which y'all probably discussed on this show before several times. And for the audience, qualified immunity basically like these cops running rogue, doing whatever they want to do, and the city picks up the tab, and they don't have a tooth in the game. But when they know that their house, their car, their white picket fences on the line, they'll police a lot differently in our communities. So some of those are the things that we have to change. You have to change this qualified immunity. I'm for qualified immunity. I want Damon to be at work. He gets into a scuffle with an inmate. He should be, indemnified. But if Damon just running through the cell block, cracking people in the head, no, his house should be on the line. His house should be on the line. And that's just it. When the cops are out there being rogue, they should not be covered. And it's outright qualified immunity for whatever. And then they say they have little, it has to be within the scope of their employment. Well, by the time the police department explain what the cop did, they make it into the scope of their employment so that they can be indemnified or qualified immunity.
Exactly. I always say law enforcement is the only profession outside of lawyers, right, that legally know how to write to justify their actions, good or bad.
That's right.
Law enforcement do it. They justify their actions,
You see what I said in the documentary when the New York Times reporter asked me about the gun arrest? I said, listen, they taking the guns and they figure the story out later.
Exactly.
That's just what it is.
Exactly. I mean, and we're taught to do it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and that's the way it is. But when we're having a discussion of accountability, and then now, after the cell phone, you can't do that, right? So you put this whole story together, right? And the next thing you know, the video pop up on Instagram, and it ain't nothing like what they do, and even in corrections, they got cameras watching cameras, and some of them are mic'd up. Now we got some of them mic'd up, and
wow.
So the officer write the story, and they look on the camera, and they be like, "Dude, that's not what happened. That's not what you got to write. What that's not what happened, man."
Well, you know what, Dave? I'm hoping it's funny you say that because I'm hoping like now the new generation. I'm thinking it will get better. It's gonna be hard to make up these stories like when we was 20 years ago.
Exactly.
So with Big Brother watching all over the places, cameras everywhere, they're gonna be locked into a zone where you can't lie. Because I wouldn't even want to lie now because I would be too scared that a camera. Somebody you don't know. It's not about your body camera, the camera on the store. It's about somebody who was in the window all the way up there on the 5th floor, zooming in with their cell phone that you don't have no clue about.
Exactly.
The front page.
Just do your job. If you got to restrain them, take them down, put them cuffs on, and call it a day. Yeah, you might not did it pretty. You might not did it, super technique, right? But you did your job.
Police work is ugly. It's not a pretty profession now. Let's not be mistaken on that.
And once they cuff, stop it.
The
all
game
the
is over.
Kicks, punches, all that, all the extra kicks and the punch. All that. I had one incident, man. The dude was. I had to just stop the officer, and then the captain was like, "Yo, you just say you." By the time I got to one building to the other, the captain done seen the video. Said, "You saved that man's job." he was about to lose his job.
See?
So what you're talking about there is in police policy. Is there the right to intervene? Like you're supposed to, if your partner is not doing or abusing his power in front of you, are you supposed to intervene? Is that in the policy or?
Yeah, you're supposed to. Yeah, if you see your partner or any police officer committing an act, not intervene, but you're supposed to report them right to internal affairs.
But that don't happen.
That definitely don't happen.
Well, you start getting some of them cops caught up. They gonna start thinking about.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't happen, and then they all get jammed up because somebody had a cell phone, and so look at George Floyd. Right?
That's what I was talking about. That's where I got it from.
Look at George Floyd. These dudes was rookie cops. They're not going to, and they're not, and I'm not putting a defense for them, but the reality is this. You got 2 years on the job, you got the senior officer doing something stupid.
And one of them, it was their training officer.
Well, regardless of the fact, he's a senior officer, right? You're not going to tell the senior officer you're doing something wrong. You're not going to do it. I mean, and it's unfortunate that them cops didn't step up or common sense didn't just pop and say, yo, I think you got to get the knee off the dude's neck, right? But they stood around and played the role, and I know a light bulb had to go off in one of them, like something's not right here. But they wasn't going to tell that senior officer, enough is enough. Look at the other cop, that pulled the gun instead of pulling the taser out.
The Dante Wright case.
Right. Here she go. You don't want to be super cop in front of this rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Unnecessary. Still unnecessary. And then her testimony was, well, I wouldn't even never pull over. So why you ain't tell him or let him go?
Exactly.
Right? Why you tell him let him go? Let him go. We're not doing that today.
She thought those crocodile tears was gonna get her off.
No, that wasn't going to happen. But we got to understand. Carroll's Law started in Buffalo. Yep, after police officer intervened and was fired. Yep, the state finally fixed that horrible situation. Yeah. We met Caroline Horn at Penn State. You know, and you know, I ain't tooting Black Westchester's horn, but when we interviewed her, the interview went viral again.
Yeah.
You know, to help, and then she took it from there. But you know, God bless Carol that she it was a fight, man, because I remember when we was out eating, Corey, and she was telling Montika the story. Montika just started crying.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the stuff that she went through.
She was on welfare, everything. She lost everything.
Exactly. But we need more Carolyn. Right, right. We need more. You know, don't try that around me. That doesn't happen. We could take them down and do the right thing and do whatever we need to do, but don't start acting crazy because I might knock you out.
Well, I gotta say
I'll
that
be on camera because I might just knock you out. Well, I'm not. You're not messing with my pension, man. You know, I'm not going to federal court for you. I will knock you out just as quick as I knock the inmate out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
We're starting to see some sort of transformation in the culture of policing, because just the other day, within the past 24 hours, there was a report of a sergeant somewhere, I don't remember where, in Sunrise, Florida, who choked one of his subordinates after the person intervened while he was, using excessive force of some kind on a suspect that he had in the car. And she grabbed him from behind to stop him, and he turned around and started choking on her. And now he's been suspended. But, officers need to understand that the first line of policing is fellow officers, and that you're not going to be able to commit these kind of crimes and abuse your authority, and people are just going to sit around and let it go down because everyone's going to be held responsible. Listen, you know what? Those of us who've been on the streets know, if you're around some shit, you in it. If your man's in the car, he got the biscuit on him, you catching it. So it should hold for police officers as well. No one in a position of authority is allowed to remain quiet in the face of those kind of drastic abuses. And I'm glad to see, at least, that some officers are recognizing that for, I think, the, I'm going to say tranquility or peace of the entire country, everyone's got to step up, because this is a national problem. It's causing immense turmoil. If we don't want to see people out in the streets going off again because they don't watch someone get shot by a cop while they was running, unarmed, then we need officers to, begin to police their fellow, their fellow colleagues.
Yo, Corey, I want you to before going back to the documentary, you made a great point last night that I want you to do on the show. Why you used a director and producer that wasn't from here. I want you to speak to that. What you said, right?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. So the director is white, Romanian, and the producer is Romanian. So when they first reached out to me, I had some other offers on the table already. But what struck me with them was I wanted them to do it because they came untainted. They didn't know anything about law enforcement in America, and they definitely didn't know anything about the hood. So they was coming with a whole fresh set of eyes. And as she told you last night, she was amazed, like, this is what happens in law enforcement in America. Like, why are they making you this monster? You're not this monster. So I knew she was going to tell the story, just the way the story. It's no Hollywood sprinkle in the documentary. You know what I'm saying? Right, she told it just the way it happened. I mean, even all the recreations and all of that. So I was very happy with it. We had like a big Hollywood company like wanted to do the documentary. In documentaries, you don't really get no money in documentaries because if you got paid, then people would think that you're paying people to speak for you. So it didn't really matter who I went with because the money, it's not really the money. It was more just I just needed the transparency to get the story out, to get it out right. And
I thought that was powerful because, like you said, she didn't have a vested, already brought into what the system is, and our news and all that. She did say that last night. She said she was surprised, like she was surprised that this was going on in American law enforcement. She was like, "Yo, what?" Yeah, that was crazy. Go ahead, Damon, and I just want to make sure because I want to make sure we give him enough plug for the documentary. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we hear.
No, I was listening to y'all talk, man. I mean, man, look, Corey's documentary, just shows, that we have to continue our connection to the Black community as Black law enforcement officers. We cannot be ashamed of where we come from, and we have to represent the good and the bad of the Black community. It is what it is. As Preston Gilstrap, my brother from Dallas Police Department says, it is what it is, and it is what it ain't. And we just have to represent that. We just have to represent that, and we have to be proud about it. And not scared to stand on our truth of black officers. Just because the white majority feels that they don't agree with our truth. You don't have to agree with our truth. You just have to respect it.
Allow me to indulge.
Every minute. Yep, you're right, Wade.
I was going to give a shout to my man, Jeff Evans, who signed in late to watch the show. That was one of my dudes who signed in. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, I'm going to have to discuss with you guys, a recent incident that he endured. We were just kicking a little bit earlier about something that went down in the city. No travesty of justice, but certainly something unfair that I'd like to discuss with y'all offline in any event.
And we gotta get Corey head one of these police departments, man.
Dave, let me tell you, I swear to you, after last year, I said, Damon, man.
Now he blaming me.
No,
hey man, where's Anthony Mitchell in this, man?
I forgot about my man Todd. I forgot about it. But listen,
shout to Mitch.
It actually, what the shining light in it showed me that my heart ain't in it no more. Like I want to consult. I'm not working with these crazy people with guns no more. Doing those interviews showed me. I said, now obviously, if New York, LA, Chicago police jobs opened up, I would do it. Other than that, I ain't doing it. And it might have to just be New York and LA to come to think of.
Yeah, but we always
Chicago. Yeah, you in Chicago. That's
always talked about the whole consulting thing and doing consulting because see they got people that consult.
Mm-hmm.
But these law enforcement consultants have no damn clue about the Black community and about policing the Black community.
Exactly.
Some of them are Black, right? They have no clue because you see who they recommend to hire.
Exactly.
Right. So and that's the sad thing about it. So when you bring Black people on to consult, right, and then only thing they do is empower the culture and the old school thinking that's already there. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, and that's what we see.
As I'm looking, I say, hey, I'm like a culture change. I'm like trying to change the entire culture. Like, you can't have policing since it started with slave patrols. Right, so we got couple of hundred years, whatever it is, and It's never gonna change. So you gotta rip it down. Like me and Dan, you talk about that all the time. Like you gotta rip it down. We gotta build it from the scratch. And the first thing you gotta do is get rid of them damn unions with so much power. They can have their unions because they need somebody, but they shouldn't have the power. You got to take lobbying out of the unions. So that's legislative. Like you got to take it out. Once you take lobbying out, they don't have no leg to stand on now.
Ooh, you talking about something, boy. Pat Lynch can have a press conference on you, man.
Yeah. Pat Lynch, on sight, if I see Pat Lynch, I'm gonna punch him in his mouth. You hear me, Pat?
Yo,
on sight.
Uh-oh.
Nah,
he's a nice guy. I think
he's a nice idiot. It's all good.
Corey, that excellent steps. Ain't nobody never did that to him before. Nobody never did that to Pat Lynch before. When he made that statement, we had that press conference in front of New York City.
Remember?
Ain't nobody never did that to Pat Lynch before. He ain't know how to respond. Well, they have the right to voice their opinion. No, because ain't nobody touched your jaw, right? We went down there to test your jaw.
Exactly.
Come on out, Pat Lynch. We standing right in front of you. We standing right here. You're not going to disrespect.
And he was not coming out of that building.
No,
he wasn't coming.
And AJ, I tell you, even your sister got an email.
My sister worked for in White Plains, was working in a company for White Plains, whose main office and headquarters was in that building. And the whole building got an email telling them not to go outside because of what was going to happen, with the potential danger.
It's some angry black men outside.
So it was like they warned them, and being that. So see, even her office got, from the headquarters got into White Plains, but that whole building got it. Because she called me, she was like, "Yo, are you okay?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she sent me the email. Yeah. So they sent something to everybody in that building. To warn them about the activities going on outside.
On the real, man, on the real, we had a lot of fun. Just pressing, I remember I was watching the documentary when we was out there about the noose, man. I remember we was out there with that. It's great. It's just like I was like, wow, man. I said,
we all looking all young out there, right?
Yeah, I was telling Bob, covering all the press conferences that y'all spoke at, since I've been covering them, it was like y'all was trying to outdo each other in the best soundbite. Like,
wait.
Soundbite. That's it. Because on the news, Doc, hey Bob, on the news you get like a 30-second hit. It ain't you ain't getting 5 minutes. We're doing a press conference for 20 minutes. They only gonna show 30 seconds, so you better come. And you know who I learned that from, soundbite? I ain't gonna lie, I learned that from Eric Adams.
Yeah, he's a master.
So good at that. When CNN called me to do the interview for the news, Eric called me. I swear, true story. He said, "Come to my house in Brooklyn. I need you to come here. I got something for you going on CNN tonight." Went to his house. Eric gave me a noose. He said, "When you doing that interview, I want you to hold that noose up to your neck." Yo, I swear to you, that sound like, because they was interviewing several people around nooses around America. But I got the most time because I stood there and talked. Damn, I was talking like this, and I just held that noose up like this.
Yeah.
Remember one of y'all was like, when you see it, call the cops on the cops. Which one of y'all?
That was me.
Long Island. Yeah.
Talk about the Long Island, right? And I told you, AJ, I said, "Yo, wait till they see what I got in the trunk." And I brought that big ass picture.
Oh yeah, in Garden City.
Oh yeah,
the cop who did it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, man.
No, but Eric taught us all that.
He taught us all.
Eric taught, people don't understand, man. Like Eric was the master. Eric was the mastermind at press conferences, and he was like, "Yo, bro, do this, do that." That's why I got the idea from the podium. It was Eric because he.
Damon became a walking. I always joke. I said Damon's a walking press conference.
At
any point, he could just pull up in front of your house, open the trunk, pull out a podium, and have a press conference.
But I got that from Eric. We went out to Brooklyn when that guy was having a nervous breakdown or something, and he was hanging off the fire escape, and the sergeant told the cop to shoot him with the taser, and
Right.
he fell and died.
Fell and died. Yeah.
Eric had the press conference, and we standing out there. And Eric said, "Oh, I forgot. He went out. He made. That's when he was senator.
Mm-hmm.
He made a New York Senate portable podium with the holes with the holes for the mics
for the mics. Yeah.
I was like, yo, yo, I went home, got on Amazon. I went home and ordered me a portable podium.
Yeah, yo, people don't realize, yo, we've been doing this, Bob. We've been doing this for. I've been retired 9 years, so we was doing this 24. We've been doing it so long. People don't even. But the sad thing is, the younger generation isn't picking it up and go. You got all these black police organizations, Noble, Guardians, all of this stuff. And they just a bunch of Negroes are having parties and giving out Christmas toys, pretty much. That's what they doing, because them Negroes ain't on the forefront of nothing. I don't see them speaking about anything. I promise you, I don't hear them.
I think it's I mean, we've come to an era, I think an end of an era, because, a lot of us, me, you, Corey, Charles, a lot of us have sacrificed being on the forefront and have taken hits to ourselves, taking hits to our family, taking hits to our pocketbook, taking hits. Yeah. Now we just about money, man. Like, and there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's about residual income, about getting that Bitcoin. It's about selling books. It's about doing things, and because we gave at the door.
We gave at the door. I remember being the commander, 6'7". I'm at my desk. Eric calls me. Yo, meet me in front of the New York Post building. I said, what's he said, you didn't see the newspaper today? He said they made President Obama just got elected. They put him in the post as a monkey. Y'all remember that? As a monkey. Yeah. I'm like, shit, I'm working. I'm like, damn it. I got my drive. I said, yo, come on, get me. I'm not putting no uniform on. I'm going suit and tie. Get me down there. Go down there, meet him. Phil Banks drove with me in the car. Phil, the black chief that worked in the same damn building. Okay?
He ain't get out.
Oh, he ain't get out?
Phil ain't get out. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if he watching. I know Phil ain't get out.
Nah, Phil got out on this one. He got out. We doing, but me and Phil is fucking working. Like, we on the clock. We definitely on the clock. If Eric can pull our ass out there and we doing this press conference, we end up in the Jet magazine. I can't hide this. But look, so like we put our necks, we did it now. When you working, you can't be out there doing no damn press conference. We was doing that's the stuff we had to do this stuff.
Wait. It says slow down.
Stop.
Visit young people group old school. He says, slow down, man. He talking about the Westchester Rock Guardians, man.
Hey, yo, wait. It's not personal. It ain't personal, man. Don't worry. I still go to listen. Last 3 weeks ago, I went to the Hollywood dinner dance, Haitian American, whatever his acronym is. They had like 700 people. I said, damn it, you know how much power y'all can have if y'all spoke out about one police incident. You had 700 people at the press conference. Exactly. Imagine that. They had 700 people at this damn dance.
Corey, there's also footage of you making an appearance, I think, at the city council out of Freeport, Long Island, around the noose incident. Yeah. And the reason I mention it is because in my private conversations with my friends who are part of the municipal services, uniform services here in the city of Mount Vernon, I'm trying to urge them to take a more public stance by appearing at city council hearings and the like, that the problems that Mount Vernon faces are not going to be solved unless municipal employees who actually have a lived experience and, have the receipts, so-called, to make the case for how current policies are hurting us and what needs to be done to improve them. They bring a credibility that few of us can have. Y'all happen to be in law enforcement, so y'all bring a tremendous credibility as you discuss these issues on air. But if it was just me or AJ or anyone outside of law enforcement, we'd be looked on with skepticism and dismissed as know-nothings who are just making, contriving things to try to
anti-police.
make them look bad.
Well, listen, Damon said it best in the documentary. He said, the Reverend Owls and all of them, they out there with the marches and stuff, but they not law enforcement. So when law enforcement speaks, we're speaking from an expert position of being entrenched in it. We know it from the rooter to the tutor. And so when we speak, we're like the E.F. Huntons. Remember that old commercial with E.F. Hutton? Listen,
exactly.
When the police speak, you have to look at them a little differently. It's like, this is not somebody complaining about the police. This is the police complaining about the police. That's
I think that's what
like Damon said on that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to video that and drop that out on my Instagram. I forgot to do that.
Hey, listen.
I think that's interesting about, and to change this up, with Eric Adams now being a mayor. You know what I'm saying? I think that's interesting, that dynamic, because when he speaks on some things and he's getting heat on some things, but he's speaking from a perspective, he was in the trenches. And a lot of the people that are criticizing him, they've never been in the trench. You know what I'm saying? So he's speaking on,
And Corey, last night, you really took issue with one of the most controversial decisions he's poised to make in considering bringing back the street crimes unit, because in our discussion last night, you really, said that you think it's a mistake at least to bring it back in its past iterations where people are running around, undercover and no one can tell who people are. And, it's more, it does more harm than good. And
I think so. I'm totally against the jumper. I'm against the jump out boys. I'm over them in plain clothes. I'm over them because the best uniform for a cop is a uniform, because they're easily identifiable. They got a shield on them. You can see them. They got the 8-point hat. And most Damon is going to tell you they're going to act more professional when they have on a uniform, as opposed to running out, jumping out with a camouflage hoodie. And the other piece to it is, it's actually safer for the cop. It's safer for the community and the cop. Because you run up on the wrong corner and jump out in plain clothes, cop might get murdered. Because I don't know who the hell jumping out the cars. Exactly. They're not pulling their shields out. Y'all know they ain't pulling their shields out till everything is done. They just jumping out. And
that's one of the points I talk about, the shooting of Abner Louima in my intro to sociology class. I always discuss it, and how the fact that the police officers had no identifiable
nothing identifying them as police.
Right. They were in the unmarked car. They jumped out in plain clothes. And I'm like, yo, my cousin grew up right around the corner. I'm like, I've been out there around Elder Avenue. Yo, you already know, like, if you jump out at someone at 12 o'clock at midnight, yo, the rules is get out of here. I don't care who you are, because you're the stick-up kid. You're just another stick-up kid looking to get me. So, I think it would reduce the kind of ambiguity that between the police and the community that often leads to misinterpretation and causes things to spin out of control when they might have been resolved in a better fashion if everyone knew who was who.
Well, I hope Eric get it right.
Yeah, that's why I was asking y'all to speak on him. Yeah,
because if he doesn't get it right, it's going to be bad, because and I also wonder the dynamic of conversation between him and Pat Lynch, because Patty's not talking to just a career politician, he's talking to a retired captain. So I would like to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. So the dynamics of Eric being, mayor is very unique, and he has a great opportunity to make universal changes, because he has one of the biggest bully pulpits on the planet, and changing policing can literally change the blueprint on how policing is done throughout the world. So, there's a lot of pressure, and we're not You know, and it gives black
Ain't
law.
no pressure, man. Pressure just build burst pipes and build diamonds. That's it. Ain't no pressure. What I'm telling you this though, and I'm going. Eric's my man. I gotta put y'all know that. That's my brother.
Absolutely.
But we could agree to disagree, and I'm just so clear. And like, if we're going, so they disbanded the anti-crime. You know what they did with them? They took them from plain clothes, put them in uniform, put them in unmarked cars. Last year, they took over 4,000 guns off the street. They haven't taken 4,000 guns since the 90s. So why would you want to put them back in? They getting the guns. Like, what they getting the guns already.
Right.
And they're doing it in uniform. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. Because we know what's going to happen. Because, like you said, I'm looking for something a little different. Like, massage the conversation. All right, we're going to bring plain clothes back, but I'm going to start it over here. If it's in Mount Vernon, I want it to be reflective of the community. I want an all-black anti-crime team. The days of just taking white guys in black communities and jumping out, that's over. But the NYPD is such a big animal. And I'm saying this, too. If it's a Spanish community, put the Spanish in it. I'm good with that. If it's an Asian community, put Asian cops in there. We got to do something a little more different. And it got to be super strict supervision. Exactly. So you got a sergeant in the car with 2 cops. When the one cop make an arrest, he has to go back to the precinct. That sergeant got to get in the car with the other cop. When that other cop make an arrest, their night is over. That's it. They no more, yo, we're gonna get this side of the precinct, sergeant, and you go over, we'll be back to get you. No. Strict supervision, because the first time somebody do something, you hang that sergeant. And then it reverberates throughout the department like, the commissioner ain't playing, or the mayor, whoever it is, you know, but they're not massaging it. They're just saying they're gonna bring it back. And when you say bring it back, anti-crime in the black and brown community, we're thinking, yo, you getting ready to harass us again.
Yo, dude, let me tell you, on the real, Bob Law called me. I was on the phone with him for an hour. and he was just going off. He was just going off, man. And what can I say, man? You know, and then
he ready to protest now.
Exactly. He ready.
I know.
He ready to call me.
Who told me that? You or Charles? One of
y'all.
No,
I called because I called Charles, and Charles called you. We was gonna get on. We was gonna get on. Yeah. Because I'm like, yo, man, Bob Law's getting ready to get in Eric's ass, and I'm like, yo, I don't. And then I made the mistake that and when it came out my mouth, he just chastised me, and I couldn't even say it. I'm like, yo, you got to give him a chance. and I was like, and Bob Law lit me up on the phone about giving a politician a chance. You know, and I had to, eat humble pie, man. You know, but
the chance January 1st, the iron is hot and ain't no wiggle room. Exactly. Ain't no wiggle room. Like you gotta, so you gotta come with these pre-plans. Like I mean, on the campaign trail, he was saying, bring. We were second week in January. Where they at? Like, where was the plan? Like the plan. We gotta massage. You gotta massage the message, because this whole stop, question, and frisk thing. People around America believes that stop, question, and frisk is an NYPD thing, but Damon and this is Terry versus Ohio 1968 Supreme Court case where there was these 3 guys lurking and they was looking in the window of this bar at night, ended up getting arrested, searched, one had a gun, they went to take the gun out, but the state United States Supreme Court said if a cop believes that there's criminality afoot, that they should be able to stop, question, and or frisk. The frisk is only for your safety if you believe that they have a weapon. But NYPD took it so crazy that people don't realize if you're in Boise, Idaho, Mount Vernon, wherever you are, you're a cop and you see criminality, you can stop, question, and frisk somebody. Exactly. But they messed up so bad, and it was the Jump Out Boys. And you're talking about bringing that back. People was protesting for 2 years for restructure, do all of this, reimagine all of this, and now you're going to bring this back. I just don't get it. I'm just in the game.
But you know what, Corey? I'm glad that you say that, because even the conversation with Bob Law, and I was listening to Clay Kane on Sirius FM. I had to call in and set him straight. They're telling people that the judge ruled that stop and frisk was illegal, and I said no. The judge ruled how it was applied was illegal.
Exactly.
Not that the stop question of you can't, because the Supreme Court already ruled that's illegal. It's how they applied it to Black and brown communities was illegal.
Right.
And I'm like,
Dane, this is what I'm saying. If I'm advising Eric, we have to do a 5-borough tour. You get your top lawyer from the Corporation Council to do these community forums and explain Terry versus Ohio. Because when I explain it to you, you go, oh, that makes sense. But if you're not massaging this conversation, you're going to bring what is in the Black and brown community, we call it the boogeyman. You're bringing the boogeyman back and not even fixing this. You're not even telling us why. Why are you bringing them back? You understand what I'm saying, Dame? So, Timmy Pierce, his top advisors are mad at me. You keep talking about Eric and stuff. I said,
dude, I text one of his people. I'm like, yo, dude, like, who's writing the speeches? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's writing the speech? Yo, I love Eric to death. You know what I'm saying?
That's my man. But I don't want plain clothes cops in our community jumping out. Or I got so many variables he could do with it. You're gonna do it. Those 5 cops that's in anti-crime, they gotta live in that borough. Like, you gotta lock them right in. You gotta lock them in, Dame. It has to be. You want to be an anti-crime, you got to be a residency requirement for the next 5 years. Make it a borough requirement. Like, you got to lock them in. Your kid's gonna have to go to school with my kids who you harassing. You're gonna have to see the people you harassing in the supermarket. All of these things, lock them. Like Mount Vernon, y'all got a lot of cops that's like in and around Mount Vernon. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta lock them in. No more 75 miles away coming and causing havoc and then going back to your nice cul.
Hey, they drive up where I live.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yo, I wanna share a book title that puts, and I'm gonna flash it on screen real quick, that really puts things in historical perspective, especially when it comes to New York City. And I just discovered this recently. You can see here. The title of this book is The Kidnapping Club: Wall Street Slavery and Resistance on the Eve of Civil War. And what the author documents is the ways in which the New York City Police Department ran a kind of kidnapping operation where they just snatched Black men off the streets of New York City right around the Civil War, because there was a monetary award. And so it was just totally arbitrary. And the reason I show it is because we all know that there's this long, deeply entrenched history of the abuse of the police, but many of us don't, we're not aware specifically how this plays out in New York and how it conjures up these historical memories of trauma and disappearance at the hands of the police. And if the nation's going to turn a page and try to put some of this, unprecedented tension that we're seeing right now, then, we really going to have to rethink it and be real honest with one another about our past and how we need to overcome it if we're going to, even attempt to build a different future.
Yeah, I want to, we coming to the close. We actually extending time. I want to be respectful of Corey's time, even though he our boy and he welcome anytime. One last words. Oh, I always see you with the gear on with your logo. Is that for sale? And if so, how can people get your gear? One, and if they want to follow you, is their website, stuff like that.
Yeah. This is my imprint, Corey Pegues Enterprise. Y'all see the E? You gotta look real close. You can see an E on there.
Okay. Got you.
Y'all thought it was just CP, right? You see how the E on there, right? Yeah. So if people could just DM me on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, my Facebook is my name, Corey Pegues. It's up on the screen. My Twitter is C Pegues. My Instagram is C Pegues 9098, and of course my LinkedIn is my name, Corey Pegues. But listen, y'all know where the love is with y'all brothers. I love y'all bulletproof. This won't be the last time. And we're setting up a screening soon up there with Bob's in that area, Mount Vernon. All right, because we're gonna be taking a film all around the country.
Books, baby. We gotta sell books too, baby.
Yeah, bring your books.
Books, man. Don't just be bringing that the documentary. Bring your book.
All right, we bring some books. But yes,
so
I love y'all, man.
People buy the book and get an autograph by you real quick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yo, Dr. Bob, last words.
It's a pleasure having you on, brother. It was that's it. Look forward to seeing you in person up in the Ville soon.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Damon, last words.
Nah, man, this is my brother, man. So, I had to come on, and sorry I missed it, man, but I caught it on YouTube, and it's beautiful, man, and this is something that people can learn from, man, and it creates more conversation about what we need to do with law enforcement, and how Black officers can be a part of the change.
Yo, Corey, I gotta tell you, you might have to come on more, because you coming on, got Damon on the screen. We don't get Damon on, but once or twice every other month, like you coming on, got Damon on the screen. So you might have to come on. Damon
my brother got to come on for me, man. Send my love to my sister.
Absolutely.
I love you guys. All right.
All right, brother.
Baby. Yeah.
I appreciate y'all.
And to everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Y'all could have been doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We are on every Sunday, 6 to 8, streaming live on Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. With that, until next week, peace.
22 million Black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.